What's up, everyone? I'm back. After many months of not really posting here on this channel, I wanted to give you guys a little behind the scenes on how I make these videos. From animation, script writing, and storyboarding. Now, I don't think I'll be able to cover everything in this video, but what I can do is try to give you a little insight on how I actually start the process. Now, the biggest question that I get asked is what kind of 3D software I use, and I use MMD. I'm a little bit shocked that a lot of people don't know what MikuMikuDance is, or the 3D software. Like, they know of Miku, but they don't know of the 3D software. And I guess that kind of shows you how times have changed, and I'm getting older. But anyway, I use MMD primarily because it's easy to use, and it's efficient for what I needed it for. There's plenty of cool special effects that are free and can really honestly get the job done for what I needed it for. My PC is strong enough to be able to hold multiple models, stages, and all sorts of effects that I use in a lot of the episodes that you see so far. So using that is easier for me. The next thing is that I do use Blender sometimes. But Blender is a hard tool to animate with. Like, I've tried to do tutorials, I've watched videos, and I could not understand or learn a thing or two about Blender. So honestly, I don't really want to dabble into Blender because it's just hard. I'll leave that up to the pros who use it for their animations. But using it for stage conversions is how you're able to see a lot of the new stages in Phase episode. And going forward, I'll be using a lot more of those conversion stages in the future for like Akari or any other story that I put out here on the channel going forward. Now, in regards to the stages that you see in Phase episode, those stages come from a website called Acon 3D, and they are done in SketchUp format. Now, SketchUp is pretty much what a lot of stages are made in MMD. You can design and create your own stages in SketchUp, which is very hard to do. So what I do is I go to a website where there are creators who share their websites, and they give you a license to use in your animations and stuff like that. And what I'll do is I'll purchase it, download it, then import it into Blender. Then I would then convert it into PMX, and then I put it into MMD. And for the most part though, they work very well. Now, some stages are extremely high polygon, and so they make my computer run slow. But what I'll normally do is I'll do like a special technique where I'll turn off the stage and animate around a lot of the objects and stuff like that. And I'll kind of show you like a little example, like how I did Faye's scene when she went outside. The scene where her school is shown is extremely high poly and can be very rough on my computer CPU. And what I'll generally just do is I'll just turn off the stage and just animate like that. And that makes the process very easy for me. Another thing as to why I prefer to buy my stages is because a lot of the stages that you find on DeviantArt are from game rips, and there could be some legal issues with using stages that you don't own. So I try to avoid using those stages primarily for that one reason. Whereas purchasing them, I actually get a license to use them on my channel, and I can use them for any other animations in the future, as long as I don't share them, of course. But purchasing the stages, they're a lot more prettier, they're a lot more unique, and I don't generally see these stages around, so I find that to be like a pretty cool thing that I do. Now, I will note that I do use some stages that are free to use, like Faye's Classroom and the subway platform that she used. Those were widely available and are free to use. Alright, so the biggest question I get is, how do you even start? Like, where do you even start? Well, I start with my source material. The source material being the comic that I did back in 2021, which was a while ago. Now, those comics, I'm not going to lie to you, are very outdated. There's a lot of poor writing, a lot of elements of the story that I never was able to really honestly show. Like, Faye and Tyler's story was one of you guys' favorite, and Akari's story as well. But I never was able to really flesh it out in the way that I really wanted to, because I wasn't really mature enough. I was much younger. I was much more, still learning a lot with computers and writing. So I was able to now that I'm a lot more older, I can fix the mistakes that I've made in my past, make the writing much more mature, and be able to tell the story in a much more wholesome, much more cute light than I did before prior, where the story was just kind of basic and a little bit too short for my own comfort, at least. I even did a remaster of Faye and Tyler's story come 2023, but even then, I still didn't really achieve the goal that I really wanted with their story. So now in the animation department, I can kind of be able to really tell the story in the way that I initially intended to. And this will probably be the final version that I'll ever make as far as I'm concerned. Now, when it comes to writing the script and whatnot, I just use, like I said again, my own source material. You have to kind of put yourself in the shoes of those characters, and you write the script. You have to imagine each and every scene, the emotional tension that's going to be there. Because I'll be honest with you, this is a very unusual animation. This is an unusual niche. So you have to approach it in a very gentle, very lighthearted manner that is appropriate for a lot of the viewers to see. I treat the characters of Akari and Timothy and Faye and Tyler as people, as individuals. And so you want to write your script as them making their own personal choices to whatever situation they find themselves in. And I think that's honestly what probably drawn a lot of you to this channel in the first place, was the fact that these characters interact with each other in a cute, wholesome manner. Tyler telling Faye that his goal is to make her happy, Faye struggling with the idea that Tyler is a real human, and her having to accept the fact that there's changes in her life, Akari meeting Timothy and Timothy wanting to go on this journey with her of discovery. These are the kind of things that I love to write and enjoy. It really, forces you to ask many questions and do a lot of inner reflections. And I know that using this kind of medium is a little bit unusual, but hey, that's why it's fiction, right? You can take elements of real life and you can dabble it in fiction, and you kind of get a mix of fantasy and fun. And the goal of these animations is really just for people to have fun, but also to get people to think, right? What would you do if you were in that situation, right? Or just how would you imagine, or what would you do to the person that you ever meet? A lot of silly stuff. So it really comes down to how the viewers are gonna find this. Not everybody's gonna like it, obviously, but truth be told, it's mainly to kind of give you a warm, calm, lighthearted sensation when you watch these videos on YouTube. It's wholesome, it's cute, and that's kind of the thematic theme that I want to go for going forward with each and every single episode I release. It gives you tension. I want to give you a heartfelt feelings. I want to give you a thrill of what's going to happen next, and that's kind of what I want to do with these two characters. If you do too much, then people will lose interest. If you do too little, then people are gonna are gonna find you boring. So I try to balance everything as much as I can, but of course you can't please everybody. Now, in the next video, I'll go more into detail about the story itself, but what I am doing right now is just giving you a basis of kind of how I do my storytelling on this channel as far as I'm concerned. Now, going back to what I said earlier about the script, what I'll do is I'll have a script ready, and it takes me about 2 weeks to write. You have to envision and imagine every scene. And then I'll do this on Google Document. I'll make the corrections. I'll make the grammar corrections. I'll make sure that everything is consistent. Sometimes I do end up removing lines in the late run, but that kind of comes with the territory, right? And once you're ready, you now need to find voice actors. And this kind of leads to the next part of this video is, where do I get voice actors? How do you find voice work? Well, there are many, many, many websites that you can go on to, and you can put postings of, for your animations. And I'll go on to like Casting Call, where I'll generally put out like a call for a voice actor to be featured onto Faye or for Tyler, and or for Akari. But and you post your 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 lines from your script, and what you'll do is you just kind of have to do some auditions. Now this is the fun part, because you have to become a director, and as an introvert that's kind of hard for me to do. So like I'll have to like listen to auditions. I have to determine whether or not some of the videos are good, some of the auditions are good, and who's not good. And I'm a really nice person, so like I'll try to like not, if somebody doesn't send me a good audition, I just, I don't say anything, because sometimes they'll ask me for personal feedback, and I'm just kind of like, I don't know what else to say, man. Now, my biggest rookie mistake was in Akari's video. I animated the video first, and then I received the voice lines, and that is something that was terrible. Akari's video was sloppy because I animated first instead of waiting to get voice lines, and so a lot of the footage in Akari's video had to be cut because I animated everything too short. With Faye's video, that's not necessarily the case. What I'll do is I'll get the voice lines first, and then I'll time the animation based off of what the characters say. And it was a lot more uniform, a lot more organized. You can clearly tell a major difference between the two videos, from Akari's video being a little bit of a mess to Faye's video being a much more paced, slow, having elements of like pauses, and just a level of consistency that I've learned from my previous videos. And that's kind of the process with animation, especially when you self-produce a series, is that you're gonna make mistakes and then you're gonna learn from them. And thankfully, Faye's video also gave me a lot more lessons even for my future videos. And that kind of makes all of this really fun for me. So I always say, like, if you want to do animation, just be prepared to make those mistakes and learn from them. And it's fun. It's just fun to experience, to be honest. Now, for the animation itself, I'll usually animate, based off of kind of like my mind and how I view these characters. And sometimes I do use motion capture. Now, motion capture is not something that is all that useful in this. It only works in open scenes. Like, for an example, when Faye is running towards the bench, or she's walking in, from her house to the subway station. And sometimes it can work. In much more complex situations, like for an example, the scene where Faye is in the classroom, or Akari walking into her bedroom, you have to animate all of that manually. Motion capture only works in some situations, but the only reason why I would actually use motion captures in some cases is mainly to save time. It cuts down the animation time by a lot, especially if there's multiple characters in a scene. When Faye is in the scene and she talks about her inner feelings and talking about how it's hard for her to open up, I'll use like an idle motion capture where the characters are just standing around looking at her. And then what I'll do is I'll make some edits where I'll delete some bones, where I'll have the characters look at her, but they're idle. And that is to just kind of make sure that they're just not sitting still like some kind of robotic mechanical doll. And you're primarily focused on Faye's animation, where she's moving and talking. Those I have to actually animate manually. So in some cases, it works when there's multiple characters and you just need them to just have an idle animation, right? And in some cases where it's complex and it's very specific, it doesn't really work. But maybe where the scene where Faye gets up from the bench and she starts walking, that actually helps a lot. Now, this is all thanks to my good friend, Kathy. She's the one who has done all of the choreography for the girls. So all of the girls that you see that are moving in a very human-like manner, that's all because of her. So big shout out to Kathy. Alright, so here's the last part of the video, and I think this is the part of the video that people probably don't want to hear. But how much does it cost me to make these videos, right? I mean, MikuMikuDance is free, right? Your models that you make them through VRM, but it's not as free as people think it is. For me, this is a hobby, so I don't do this with any other incentive to just to entertain. That's my goal. All I do is just post this as a hobby. I don't have any other goal besides, just to make you guys have fun. So there's no gain from doing this, to be honest with you. It's more so something that I do in the abundance of my free time that I have whenever I come home after being so busy. So making these videos can be expensive. It's not cheap. I pay for stages that can cost up to $40, $40 to $50 in some cases. Some of the stages were free that you can purchase on Acon. I also purchase textures for the girls' characters, for their models, so that they can have like very realistic skin textures on their models, and also the clothing as well. Then of course there is the paying of the voice actors. You have to pay for voice work. Now you can go onto casting call and you can put unpaid voice work, but like I said again, when you do unpaid voice work, you're not likely to get people who are willing to participate in your projects, right? And that's just natural, y'all. Life isn't free. People want to get paid. People want to get money. So when I go on to casting call, I always charge a fair price for like the voice acting and stuff like that. So like if they're going to be doing a lot of lines, I'll put in a decent amount of like money that I'm willing to like spend. And then, we discuss privately, and, you recruit them and you become friends. Everybody is it's like kind of like a business in a way, right? So like from voice casting, from script writing, casting, and then being able to, just let them know like, hey, okay, so this is the script, and they'll be like, cool, I'll send you the voice lines and this, that, and the other thing. And it's just pretty simple. So in total, I would probably say that to make these videos could cost me up to between, give or take, between $500 to $600, and sometimes more, depending on the characters. Now, one of the biggest and helpful things that work is I'll sometimes have one actor do multiple characters because, voice actors can modulate, and you'll pay based off of, how many characters they do. A lot of people are reasonable. They understand that you don't have money. I'm a small YouTuber. So what I'll do is I'll generally just pay a fair price and kind of just go along with that. And that's kind of what I do for the most part when it comes to spending money. You're gonna spend money. There's no denying it, right? You're gonna spend a lot of money making videos. Making videos isn't cheap. But for me, like I said earlier, it's a hobby. So I don't mind, spending money from my own pockets to entertain y'all and do it for fun. I enjoy seeing all of your comments and seeing you guys and my DMs and my Discord saying, oh, I really like the video. And so I do it mainly, for you guys, and in a way for myself as well. It's fun for me to do it. It gives me something to do when I come home and really I'm just bored for most of the part. Instead of playing video games, I can animate and do something productive, right? I'll go to the gym. I usually go to the gym and then I'll just find some free time. And that's kind of what it is, to be honest with you. So in conclusion of this video, I want to go ahead and just tell you guys that, making these videos is hard. It's not necessarily an easy thing to do. I can't explain it efficiently enough for you guys to understand that animating in general is not an easy thing to do. But for me, that's where I find the fun in it. I like to challenge my mind to do something difficult. And while not everybody can do this, it is something that is important for me because if I don't keep myself occupied with something, besides the my daily activities, then my mind kind of just falls flat, right? Now, in the span of this video right now, we're kind of like on the 20-minute mark. All I can tell you is that it's important now more than ever to learn if you want to dabble into animation or you want to have a hobby like this. It's important to dabble into it now more than ever. And it's probably because AI is kind of on the rise now. You look onto YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, and it's all over the place, right? There's AI videos, there's people becoming AI artists, AI animators, and it's all over the place. I literally will scroll through my For You page on TikTok or on YouTube, and that's all you see. So I'm not hating on it. I'm not gonna tell people like, oh, you shouldn't use it. You know, but it's not. It doesn't hold the same weight or value that animating a video actually does, right? Um, and that's because we're living in a time where everything is just instant gratification. There's just this constant need to feed yourself information, right? And TikTok or short format type video content is kind of feeding into that instant gratification that people are struggling with. And with the rise of AI is literally designed to feed that need into a lot of people. People just want to make videos. People just need to not feel bored. And so where and then also it doesn't help the fact that a lot of content creators are more so focused on clout chasing rather than caring about their viewers. But look, that's just an opinion of mine. Everybody can have their different opinions and views on how they view the landscape of content creation these days. My entire channel is just entertainment. There's nothing to it. I just make animations. I put out cute little videos, and then I just want to see people happy. I just want to see people having fun. So that's really my end goal when it comes to making these videos, right? But these days, people are just chasing for views. And if you want to be a content creator, I will always say it's not about the views. It's not about the money neither. It's just all about building a community. And that's what I usually remember, YouTube and TikTok being more so about these days. Nowadays, everybody's just trying to gain subscribers. They're all trying to get you to do this and that. I don't know what to say about it. It is what it is, but I'll stick with my formula. I'll just entertain and, you know, do my part in the landscape. Anyway, this video is kind of long and I didn't mean it to be as long as it is. But thank you guys for watching. I will be posting some updates. I'll try to post more often to keep my engagement up. But I do like to talk about like behind the scenes, so I'll give you guys a little insight of what I do. Anyway, Akari's video is in production. You guys voted, so you guys definitely want to see her back. And Restine, her voice actor, is eager to voice Akari again, so she's definitely ready for you guys. And also, I have the voice lines early, so I can animate as soon as I can. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.